I don't feel myself that I'm a spiritual person. I dislike intensely the label spiritual teacher, because spiritual, the word spiritual implies something sort of something other,
Yeah.
something. I'm talking about not something other. I'm talking about this,
Yeah. Yeah.
this ordinary everyday experience. So I actually, I rather agree with you, Bernardo. I don't feel spiritual. I just feel like an ordinary person that's interested in the reality of our ordinary everyday experience.
Yeah.
Then we share that. I'm also interested in this world right now.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that's where we meet. And yes.
And that's why this is so exciting, because spiritual is something of a loaded word, particularly, let's say, in scientific circles. And so to be able to bring the two together, really, in terms of pure experience, it is very exciting. Now, just to, in terms of my own qualifications, as it were, I'm uniquely unqualified. I failed my physics GCSE, which means that, so to be able to explore these terms, particularly perhaps from a scientific point of view, I'm hoping to bring you down to my level. Now, in terms of the man or woman in the street and their understanding of reality, of experience, of science, someone at the moment here in Britain who is very much the figurehead in that area is Brian Cox. Now, he, you could say, he's a celebrity physicist. He worked at CERN as well. How, in terms of, for example, the amount of publications you've had written about in idealism in scientific papers, how would you compare you and Brian? And I don't mean to be in any way leading, but just out of interest to be.
Well, Brian worked at CERN as well at some point, I think. I don't have much sympathy for him, even in his efforts to communicate physics. I think he's more focused on drawing a flabbergasted reaction from his public than to actually explain what's going on. They're more focused on the whoa, wow, what is this? What does quantum physics mean? Than actually explaining things. And he seems to be married to a particular metaphysics without even thinking of it as a metaphysics. And that metaphysics is, of course, physicalism or materialism.
And metaphysics, again, for someone like me, that just means reality, a model of reality.
Yeah, metaphysics is what is behind physics. Physics is how nature behaves. Metaphysics is what is it that behaves. So it's behind the physics or beyond the physics.
Yeah. So am I right in saying science doesn't tell us what reality is, but it tells us how it behaves?
Correct. Of course, you can derive some implications regarding what nature is from nature's behavior. But that's an indirect step. Science doesn't provide a direct answer to what nature is, since it only studies nature's behavior.
Okay. Now, Rupert, in terms of then the perennial understanding, as it were, so does this then explain what reality is in a way that science can't?
Yes, the perennial understanding is really more a philosophy than a science, because philosophy is more concerned with what nature is rather than what it does. So the perennial non-dual understanding is an attempt to both explore the nature of reality, to recognize the nature of reality, and then it addresses the implications of that recognition in our life, both internally, that is, what it means for us internally in relation to our suffering, our love of happiness and peace, our internal emotional experience. But it also has implications for our external experience, that is, our activities and relationships in the world.
You often say reality is one single indivisible whole, and so there's nothing separate from that. It's also described as the consciousness only model, non-duality, idealism. So where you've both arrived at is am I right saying it's exactly the same spot, Bernardo?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think you'd have to put Bernardo and my understanding under a very powerful microscope to find any differences between us.